Good morning, everyone. We're going to go ahead and call the meeting to order. Probably wondering why I'm here. We all kind of wonder that, don't we? No. So I guess that Chairman Solner had a family medical issue, and then I'm not sure where Bill's at. He must be farming, but it's a little wet to be doing that, so I'm not sure where he's at. We do have a quorum, so we'll go ahead and get started. Need approval of minutes for October 4th. Member Rogal motion, a second member Bell. Any questions? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Go ahead and we'll pay bills. Have you all seen them? Any questions? Take a motion to pay the bills. Member Klein, motion. Member Bell, second. We've already asked for questions. We had none, so we'll go ahead and vote. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Do we have any members of the public?
We have had no requests for this morning. Thank you.
I'm surprised. Okay. Department matters, Jerry Stokes, number 5A1, or I'll just turn it over to Jerry.
Do you want to make a motion first?
Yes, we do. I'm sorry. My bad. You can all make fun of Member Klein. Second, Member Wachinski. Go ahead. Sorry.
So this is our
I just tried to
annual,
make sure you were awake.
yeah, our annual estimate of cost program that we use for motor fuel tax funds, and it pays for our paint, signs, posts, and different materials like that. And it also covers some of the oil and chip work that we do around the county. So it's pretty similar to last year's. It's actually like $34,000. The actual maintenance portion of it is like $34,000 less than it was last year, and that's mainly due to some of the roads that we're looking at doing isn't quite, the quantities aren't quite as there as what we were last year as far as the amount of mileage we were going to do and that type of thing. And part of that has to do with the Sapphire Sky Wind Farm that we're doing. It's kind of all going to be in the same area, so we're doing those roads, which is coming out of the highway fund, but the amount of roads we're doing out of the motor fuel tax fund is just a little bit less.
Any questions? So it looks like they're getting along pretty well down there. Moving along.
Yes, yeah, they got
related, but
all the towers have been erected, and they've actually started reconstructing some of the turning radii into the tower sites and the road sites and everything. So yeah, they're moving along there. I don't know exactly when they're going to be operational. I think they're still thinking by the end of the year.
seemed like it. We've kind of got it down to a science, at least from my perspective. We actually farm right in the middle of that, and having been through the process time or two, they really kind of have it down. Not to say you don't have a lot of traffic at certain times of the day, but
Right. Yeah, it did. I think it went fairly smooth. We had some issues here and there, and there is some patching they have to do on the county highways yet this year, and that's supposed to be hopefully lined up by the end of the week. That we're looking at just a couple of areas where the crane cross and kind of dams the road just a little bit, where you can kind of feel it as you drive across there. So that's in the works.
okay. Any other questions? Ready to vote? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Going on to item 5A1B, request approval for Horse Farm Road, section on County Highway 21, section 19-00058-07-WR. Can we do these all at once?
Sure.
First one, B1, a motor fuel tax resolution. B2, a matching fund resolution. And B3, a highway fund resolution. And a motion to Member Klein, second. Member Wachinski.
So this is a reconstruction project that we're going to do next year, and the plans are done. We've purchased all the right-of-way on the project, and so now the harvest is complete. We went out there and staked the right-of-way, and so we need to get the utilities are the kind of the next step that they need to get relocated, And we're going to actually go to bid on this project in December. That way, whoever the contractor is can start as soon as the weather breaks, first part of April, and then we can hopefully have it completed by harvest. It's a 2-mile long stretch that goes from the DeWitt County line to Route 136, and it's a heavily traveled road with the semi-traffic that comes from the elevator in Leroy, and so they all go down to ADM or the Premium plant down in Decatur, and so they take that route, and so there's roughly like 200 trucks a day that travel this route. So it'll be a good project to get completed. The road's currently an oil and chip road right now, so it's not really up to our hot mix levels that we like to have our 80,000 pound routes for. So this will be an 80,000 pound route when it's complete. It'll be right now it's a 20-foot road. It's going to a 24-foot wide road with 6-foot gravel shoulders, and so it'll be similar to the Meadows Road that we're doing that have done this year. So
Questions? So DeWitt County is not 80,000 though, right?
it is not. No, I've talked to him. It was kind of, I talked to him a couple years ago when we started this project, and he had another project in mind that he was planning on using his federal dollars for. So yeah, there will be a posting during the springtime for his road that he's going to have to gather, and we've had conversations about that.
Mainly it's the return traffic we're talking about.
Yes, yeah, during that time, or during the spring posting time, it'll be the return traffic because I think there's a 4-axle load limit on there on McLean, a 4-ton per axle load limit in DeWitt County. So I don't know if he does additional permitting for the empty weights like we do. I'm not real sure on that, but because right now during the spring posting periods, they go down to Farmer City and around when we have our road posted. So this will eliminate that. It's been kind of a maintenance. It's falling apart and that. So this will be good project to do.
Any questions? Ready to vote? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Moving on, next item, 5A. 1C. Request approval of a motor fuel tax resolution. Closed session if necessary pursuant to Section 2C1 of the Open Meetings Act to discuss the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees, specific individuals who serve as independent contractors in a park, recreational or educational setting, or specific volunteer of the public body or legal counsel for the public body. Let me read the whole thing. Okay. Sorry. Please bear with me. Including hearing testimony on complaint lodged against an employee or specific individual who serves as an independent contractor in a park, recreational or educational setting, or a volunteer of the public body, or against legal counsel for the public body to determine its validity. Motion by Member Klein. Member Rogal seconds.
So, just to be clear, is that a motion on the request or a motion to go into closed session?
For the request. Is that correct?
It's just on the request, right?
Easy on the new guy. Member Klein and Member Rogal, second. Thank you. Go ahead.
So we included the closed session if necessary because this is in reference to the DOT resolution that we passed, I think, last November, that sets a standard rate of salary for our county engineer for the next 5 or 6 years.
6 years.
And so this is in relationship to that and gives us authority to do that in our 2023 budget. And so if necessary, we can discuss further. It's at the will of the committee.
Does anyone have a request to go into closed session? Okay. Are we ready to vote? All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Okay, thank you. Items for information. Go ahead, Jerry. Project summaries.
So the first project is the Meadows Road project, and so they finished the binder lifts of hot mix last week. They're putting shoulders on this week and doing some additional dirt work, and then all we have left for 2022 is some additional seating and guardrail, and then we're going to come back in 23 and put the final hot mix surface on. And the reason for that is kind of one, there'll be warmer temperatures and kind of let things settle out a little bit, make sure we don't have any issues with drainage or anything where we have to go back and dig up the road, which we don't think we will, but we never know. So we decided to go ahead and do that. And so right now we're at like 5.7 million. We'll probably have another $1 million of work to do next year with the surface and some of the additional work that needs to be done. But overall, the project turned out really good, and it's going to be a nice road from to connect Lexington to Route 24. And then the next project is a Town Line Road project that is from the Tazewell County line to Route 22. I do have a few pictures of this project. So this is at the Tazewell County line, looking back to the east. And so this was a federal project that we did with IDOT. And we also received TARP funds, which is Truck Access Route Program funds, as well as HSIP funds. And those are safety funds where we put in safety shoulders and the rumble strips along this route. So there's just another picture kind of in the middle of the project where we added some guardrail over a box culvert. And you can see there the safety shoulders, and this is at the intersection of 122, looking back to the west. So, so this project's completed and everything. So the final cost I think is right around just under 2.5 million, so a little bit less than what it was bid at so far. So we'll have to wait till we get final invoices from IDOT on some of that stuff, but everything turned out well on that. So that's the only two projects. I do have a couple other pictures of a project that's going on out in Anchor Township. So this is a box culvert project, and so they're close to having this done. They're working on the road work right now, but everything's poured out, and they got to put some riprap in here at the box culvert, take out some of this dirt. And then kind of put gravel on the road. The road's going to remain gravel the winter to let it settle out, and then when we come back with the motor fuel, the oil and chip program for the township, we'll oil and chip it at that time. So, so yeah, you kind of see there's the box culvert itself being where it's poured, and so they got to come. This is kind of some small gravel or some small aggregate they put in there, and then they'll put some bigger riprap on there. So I would say probably next week or two that this job will be completed as well. So, any questions on any of those or any other projects?
You look like you have a question.
I just want to comment on the beautiful black dirt we have in Illinois, okay?
It is a valuable resource. That's all you have?
Yep.
I'd just like to make a comment. I know you had two employees who come upon a farmer that had fallen off his combine, called the rescue. Mark Hines, if you may have interviewed with Farm Bureau, stepped up on his combine, probably inadvisably, I would say.
Yeah.
We can all say that after the fact, right? But lost his balance, fell off, and broke his leg, and two of our county employees stopped and called the rescue squad, and they were able to get him help and get him.
Yeah, so Nick Drinkwater, who's from the Bellflower area, he was the one that he noticed that there was something wasn't right with the combine, and then and so then he kind of looked again and noticed somebody was laying on the ground, and then he radioed back to Steel Beeler, who was behind him, and said, pull in there. It looks like something's going on, and so then. Yeah, he was, sounded like Mr. Hines was in a lot of pain, and so they called 911, and, I don't know how long he'd been laying there, or how long he would have been laying there by the time his partners and stuff had returned. So, yeah, it was a real good effort on those part, or at least to be aware of their surroundings and notice that something wasn't right. So,
I commend them for that, and that's great. I just actually talked to Mark yesterday. He's doing well. They had to have, I mean, it shattered his femur in 2 places and had to have surgery, and so, thank you. Tell him thank you from all of
Sure.
us. Moving on. Number 5B, 1A, items to present for action. First one, A, request by the Ecology Action Center to approve renewal of a 3-year McLean County Solid Waste Program agreement between the EAC, McLean County, the City of Bloomington, and the Town of Normal. And we take a motion for that. Member Klein, Member Bell, second. Any questions on that, or do we want, we have someone here that can address that if we have questions, or?
If we have any questions, we do
would you like to
have members of the Ecology Action Center here today. This is a standard renewal.
Everybody good? All right, we're ready to vote? All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Motion passes. 5B, 1B, request approval of a host community agreement between Henson Disposal and McLean County to establish a solid waste transfer facility as requested by the Ecology Action Center. And take a motion on that. Member Wachinski, Member Klein, seconds. Any questions on this item? You guys are quiet today. No questions? We ready to vote? All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Motion passes. And then items for information. Do we have specific, do they want to address those?
I would ask Michael Brown to come up for our items to be presented for information. These include the program reports for the first and second quarters of 2022 for both the solid waste program as well as the stormwater education program. And they do great work. I would not want to summarize. Michael can do a much better job.
Michael.
Thank you. And yes, so these just detail our activities for the first part of the year for both of those programs that the county supports, as well as the town, the city, and Binward that help each of those entities meet various environmental mandates, which is kind of our role in those programs. And so everything from educational and outreach activities to some specific technical activities. I do have to address that during the pandemic, our numbers of outreach did go down a little bit just because of the difficulty in reaching people in the same traditional manner, especially in-person interactions, classroom education and such. Those numbers are coming back up very quickly as we're back in full mode again. So very happy to have that. And as well, while these reports are a little bit delayed, we've gotten behind as, again, due to the pandemic and being short-staffed. We're now fully staffed for the first time in a year and a half, and so very excited about that, and that's getting us back up to speed on everything as well. So I'll take any questions if there are any.
So this isn't, I think this would be in relation to the solid waste program. You all recently canceled a planned solid waste event. Could you talk a little bit about that? If there are any
Yes.
plans in the future? Because I know they're really popular. And everyone asks me, I've got some paint and some light bulbs in my basement. When can I get rid of those?
Yes, thank you. So yes, the fall 2022 McLean County Household Hazardous Waste Collection event was canceled. Unfortunately, that wasn't our choice. That was the state of Illinois, our major partner on that. While we do have a agreement with the city, the town, the county, and Binward that helps fund those when we need local funding, we're actually back in the cycle with Illinois EPA, who's funding them on a regular basis now and is trying to give us collection events annually, which is very exciting because that hasn't been the case in many, many years. So that saves a lot of money here for the local governments, local taxpayers. But there was a fire at the processing facility for Heritage Environmental, who's the contractor that takes all of that hazardous waste and properly deals with it. And so unfortunately, our event was the first event canceled this fall, but all of them were canceled, all of the statewide collection events, as well as there's reduced capacity at the 5 existing permanent hazardous waste collection events open to all Illinois residents. And so just, that is all beyond our control. We did try and discuss rescheduling for later in the fall, but that just didn't turn out to be an option either. We explored hiring a separate, different contractor in order to still hold our event and even paying it ourselves if need be, but there was too short of time to make that happen either. And so basically, everything is on hold for the time being, but the contractor anticipates being back in full operation for the spring. While we could have a spring event with the state of Illinois, we chose to stay on the fall schedule as that's what the residents now anticipate. And so we wouldn't be able to handle both a spring and fall collection event next year. So our next collection event will be next fall. There will likely be a Peoria area hazardous waste collection event that would be open to our residents. So we'll be helping to promote that in the spring to make sure that people know of that if they're, yes, in an urgent situation. As well, we will be notifying the public when we're aware that the permanent facilities are again taking all materials.
I might be getting into the realm of the city of Bloomington and town of Normal stuff, but flat screen TVs and old tube TVs are a kind of scourge on our neighborhood that they
Sure.
sit out because the city won't pick them up.
Sure.
But is there any kind of electronic recycling programs
There
that might
is.
accompany the,
Absolutely. And the county is actually part of that as well. And so actually, we all jointly are part of what's called the Consumer Electronics Recycling Act program, which is a statewide program that counties can opt into. And so McLean County has opted into that and help support the e-waste recycling at the town of Normal, which therefore makes that a county-wide site. And so that is free for all McLean County residents for basically all consumer electronics, TVs, computers, computer peripherals, printers, all those things.
so it's just a drop off?
That is a drop-off program. There is no collection program available, which does present a barrier for some residents, elderly residents who have large TVs and such. We occasionally get calls like that and try and find just volunteers or somebody who can help out. But that's, yes, a gap in our services for those who cannot transport those things themselves.
Any other questions for Mr. Brown? Member Bell? You hit your finger
I
on the
know
button.
it used to be that Best Buy and some of the box stores would, when you buy a new TV, then they would come and get your old TV. So I don't know if those things are still happening or occurring.
That Best Buy still does have some of those programs. Some of those programs are fee-based, whereas the Town of Normal drop-off program is free for all McLean County residents. As well, the Best Buy program does fluctuate over time somewhat. And so our primary referral is to the Town of Normal drop-off site for residents. Best Buy, I'm not sure if they still do pickup. And so I believe they may if they're doing drop-off, but a lot of people are purchasing things in store. And if they're not purchasing there, then they're not going to be able to get the pickup from Best Buy. So that's still problematic where people are not replacing an item.
Any other questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Get the last item.
Yes.
So item 5A, no, item C, 1A. Administrator Cassie Taylor.
Thank you, Chair Thompson. So
And
I
Chairman
have-
Sherry Thompson.
I have one item to present for action.
Sorry, I'll be quiet now.
A request approval of an amended fiscal year 2023 recommended budget for solid waste. You approved our budget last, we'll take the motion first before we discuss
Yeah,
it. Sorry.
That was actually probably my fault, I'm sorry. Member Klein, second, Member Wojcinski. Now we're back on order. Let's do
Thank
guys.
you for keeping the two of us in order. You approved this budget last month. However, with the new contract from EAC, we need to make a slight adjustment to that to cover the costs of the contract for next year. And so that is what we're recommending with this change, just a slight increase in those line items to cover the contract.
Questions? Ready to vote? All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Any other items for information?
I have no other items to present.
Next meeting is,
Member
oh,
Klein has
Member
another
Klein,
question.
I'm sorry, my bad.
Sorry, other business. This is not necessarily road or land use related, but I want to make sure everybody knows that if you have excess amounts of candy in your house today that you'd like to get rid of, between 10 a.m. and 6 p.m., the Gingerbread House in Bloomington will be accepting that candy. They're doing what they call a witch switch. So if you have a child, Jim, that you need to strangle the candy out of their hands, they will exchange the candy for a toy. But the reason they're collecting it is that they will package that and send it to members of our armed services who are abroad for the holiday season. So they will get a little treat from Illinois. So if you've got extra candy that you do not want in your house any longer, this is a good way to get rid of it, and they close at 6.
Thank you. It's good information. Anything else? Well, thank you all for attending, and I appreciate your patience this morning with the interim substitute. Meeting adjourned. Thank you.